What's up, guys? Welcome and Happy New Year. I hope everybody had a great holiday and Happy New Year. At the time that I'm filming this, it is New Year's Day. Not sure when this video will go up, but it already seems like the holidays was so long ago, right? I hope everybody had a really good holiday season. So as I do at this time every year, I like to sit down and reflect on the previous year and look forward to what my goals are for the coming year. Now, I don't do New Year's resolutions per se, but I do kind of set goals for myself, and I actually write them down on loose leaf paper. I had a notebook that I used to do this in, and what I do is I will write down what my goals are for the coming year. And then I take what I wrote from the previous year and I look at that and I see, did I meet the goals or achieve the goals or address the things that I wrote from the previous year? And I do this every year. I've been doing this, I think I have these going back to like 2009. And the goals are basically kind of like buckets or categories of things. And it's just not really even like concrete goals. Like I don't set a goal like with metrics behind it. Like I want to do 25 of whatever this is, or I want to be a certain weight. I don't write my goals in that way. It's just really, like I said, kind of like buckets and big picture idea type of things that I want to achieve. And it's a reminder for me to be intentional about these certain particular areas and aspects of my life. I will also put like super granular things on, like actual house projects I want to do or a list of things I want to buy. And like I said, I'll write the goals. And then next year, the first thing I do is look back on the previous year's goals and see what did I do of the things I hoped to, and then I write my goals for the next year. And then every year I repeat this process and go through it. Now there are some years where I will have something on here that I didn't achieve, and then I just carry it over and put it on the next year's goals. And there are some things that are on my goals for years before I even accomplish them. But I never give up, and I don't kind of feel like if I didn't accomplish it, I failed. I just recognize maybe this year wasn't the right time for it, or just wasn't the right circumstance. And if it's something I still hope to do or hope to accomplish, I will push it to the next year. When I started doing this, I had about 6 or 7 categories, and it changes every year. Some years I have like 10 or 12 different things on the list. This year, my list actually got smaller, so I'll just go through it. So I'll start with recapping my 2025 goals. So the first category, the first bucket of things that I like to write down on my goals is vacation. So I like to map out ahead of time where I would like to go on vacation, places I want to travel, and vacation plans that I might have for the coming year. And this could be like a going away, like flying on an airplane type vacation, or it could just be a day trip or a local sightseeing thing I want to do. I like to, and I need to actually like map out what we're going to do. And I actually have it like a couple years ahead of time. Like I'm already thinking now, you know, this is what we're going to do in 26. This is what we're going to do in 27. Maybe this is what we're going to do in 28. You know, because of like wanting to do vacations with my kids, and previously always having to worry about scheduling the vacation around their school schedule. When they were in high school, their school schedule was a certain way. Then one was in college and one was in high school, and they had different schedules, and now they're both in college, and that's a different type of school schedule where their breaks are a lot longer in the wintertime, and they get out and start at different times. So that weighs into where we plan and how we plan our vacations. So I am already kind of looking forward way ahead. I mean, my younger daughter is just a freshman in college, but to the time when they are both out of college, and then we're freed up to go on vacation wherever we want. Granted, this is assuming they are still going on vacation with me at that time. I don't know if they will or not. I would like to keep doing family vacations in some way, in some form or shape, whether it be just going to like the Cape together or something like that, or just doing day trips together. Like I hope they're still going to want to do things with me. I don't know. We'll see. But that's part of the goals and part of what I'm going to talk about. So for the goals I wrote for myself for 2025 for vacations, I said that I already knew at the time we were going to go to Walt Disney World in June, but what about the rest of the year? Some of my ideas were to go to the Jimmy Buffett Margaritaville Resort on the Cape, which they opened up Jimmy Buffett Margaritaville Resort here in Cape Cod I think last year, not the restaurant, but like the resort. So I wanted to visit that. And then I said maybe a New York City trip in December and maybe another Run Disney event. So as far as what I accomplished from, sorry, my hair is like, as far as what I accomplished from these goals, we did go to Disney World in June after my younger daughter graduated high school. And that was such a fun and amazing trip. We did not go to the Jimmy Buffett Margaritaville Resort. I went to the Cape with my mom to her timeshare, which is a different resort. We did go to New York City. We just went in December, just a few weeks ago, and that was super fun. And I did not do another Run Disney. I'm probably not going to attempt to do another Run Disney until 2027, but I'll put that on my future goals. Yeah, one of the things I had noted that I wanted to do also was we needed to all get real IDs this year, myself and my daughters, and our passports were expiring, so we all got real IDs and we all got passports. So we are all good to go as far as travel goes. So then the next bucket category on my list is house stuff. So for 2025, what I wanted to do for house stuff was I wrote down getting a deck for my pool, fixing up my shed, painting the walls in my house. In this room, I wanted to paint, getting new carpet, and kind of updating and refreshing my daughter's bedroom. So a lot of these things have been on the deck for the pool has been on my goals for a long time. And again, this is something that's been on the list a long time, and it keeps getting pushed and keeps getting pushed forward. I haven't gotten around to doing that yet, or haven't been able to allocate the money for that. During the pandemic, I actually I called a contractor to quote me on the deck for the pool, and it was very expensive. I don't know if everyone remembers, but lumber costs were like so high at that time. It was like insane. And I was kind of like, yeah, that's going to be like a future me project, not right now. So I still want to get a deck for my pool. We have an above ground pool and we just use a ladder to get in, which is kind of like, but I would love to do a deck and extend the current deck that I have so that it attaches to the pool, but I don't know. We'll see. Thinking about the future, I have to really also think about, do I want to make that investment in building a deck here in this house, or am I thinking maybe if I might possibly move? I don't know. These are just things that ruminate in my head. I'm not really sure yet. So I didn't really get a lot of these house projects done this year. I didn't paint the walls. I didn't get new carpet. I think I'm like thinking, what happened this year? Why didn't I accomplish any of this? I guess like, both of my kids being in college at the same time means like some of these house projects are going to have to take a back burner for a while my focus is on helping getting them through the college years. And then 2A under this bucket, I always have like a subset under house stuff which is decluttering, and that's always a constant thing that I put on my goals is decluttering, cleaning up my basement in general, going through and removing clutter from all of the areas of my house. And this is just a constant project. I'm sure a lot of you can relate to this, is like as I'm bringing new stuff in the house, making sure I'm getting rid of old stuff. And especially with my kids getting older and being older teens now, I still have a lot of their kids stuff in the house, things I've saved like for sentimental reasons or for memories and that type of thing. And yeah, just kind of thinking like, how long am I going to keep this stuff? Do I really want to keep this stuff? Like, how often am I really going to go back and look at these things? Like, why am I keeping them? So decluttering is always a focus. And I actually think I did pretty good with decluttering this year. I did get rid of a lot of things, donated a lot of my clothing to like savers and donation bins and stuff like that. This is always a work in progress. I mean, this is something I could put on my goals every year and still declutter a lot and still have more decluttering to do. So I will put this again on my 2026 goals too, but I think I did okay with decluttering. The next bucket that I had on my goals was job and career. So what I said for 2025 was, I like where I am in my job, but I just kind of wanted to get better at it and be more knowledgeable and competent and just kind of develop a little bit more core competencies. I mentioned like maybe finding a way to complete my MBA or revisit licensing. The industry I work in, there are licenses that you can get. It's not required for my particular job, but there is an opportunity to get licensed, and I have tried to get licensed in the past, and I always have this on my goals, especially in my work goals. You know how you have to do your goals at work with your manager? Like I always have like revisit licensing on my actual real work goals. As far as completing my MBA, so I started an MBA program when I was like in my 20s, and I worked for a company at the time that was doing tuition reimbursement and paying for me to go. And then I changed jobs and started working for a new company halfway through my MBA that didn't do tuition reimbursement, and I dropped out of the program and didn't finish it. And I always wanted to finish it, but then, you know, I got married and had kids, and like life happened and whatever, and I never revisited it, and I've always wanted to, but I don't know. I mean, I don't want to say like I'm too old for that, but like what would be the point of me going and getting it now? I'm not sure it's going to get me anywhere career-wise. I would just like to have it as just a personal accomplishment, and I did get halfway through the program. So if there was a way, you know, I could get back into it and take my transcript and kind of pick up where I left off, I suppose that I could do that. But again, right now, both of my daughters are in college, and I don't see how I could put myself through college while I'm trying to pay for their tuition and help them. I don't think now is the right time for that. So we'll see. I don't even think I'm going to put that on my goals for 2026. I think that's one that might just kind of fall off and fall by the wayside. The next bucket I have like fitness and health. So like I said earlier, I don't really say like, oh, I want to be a certain weight or I want to whatever, but I do put fitness and health down as like a bucket so that I can remember to be like intentional about it. When I'm 53 right now, I'm going to be 54 soon, right? This is an even number year. Yeah, that's crazy. But the year I turned 50, I started running, and I wasn't really much of a runner my whole life. I did track when I was in junior high, but that was it for me as far as running. I always like working out and stuff like that, but I was more like a cardio person and an aerobics person. I didn't really run much. And then when I was 50, my daughter, she did cross country in high school, and she wanted to do a 5K with me. And I had done a couple 5Ks like here and there for like charities and things like that. She wanted to do a 5K, so I was like, all right, I'll do a 5K with her. And we registered for it, and I started training and running to get ready for the 5K. And at the end of it, it was so fun. We had such a good time doing that together. And I was like, I really like this. I want to keep doing this. I want to do another 5K and another 5K. So I just kept with it and kept running. So then I started putting that in my goals and kind of attaching some goals around like, I want to do X number of 5Ks per year. Like, and then I think one year I actually did how many miles I want to run, and I tracked how many miles I ran. I think I set a goal for like 150 or 200 miles for the year, and I don't do that anymore. I only did it like for I think maybe 2 years. So I don't track how many miles I run anymore, and I was also trying to track my pace and like improve my pace. So I don't do that now. Now I just kind of run, and I'm just kind of whatever about it. I don't really care how many miles I run, and I don't care what my pace is. But I do try to register for like 2 to 3 5Ks per year or more, you know, ideally more, but like a minimum I think of like 2 or 3. And I put that as my goals, and I did in 2025. How many 5Ks did I do? I think I only did 2 formal ones where I registered for the actual 5K, and I actually was registered for a third one just a couple weeks ago. We had a downtown jingle, like a Christmas theme 5K in my area, but it was canceled, and they rescheduled it to a different date, and then the different date just didn't work for me, and it was also like 17 degrees that day. So I kind of also have a benchmark where if it's below 20 degrees and I have registered for a 5K, I don't go. I just, you know, it's just, I consider my registration a donation, and I'm like, I've run in like 35, maybe 27 degrees before, but like once it gets below 20, I don't do the 5K. try to get to bib pickup, get my free t-shirt, and I don't really sweat it if I don't go. So yeah, I was supposed to be in one a couple weeks ago, and the Christmas one is usually pretty fun, but so yeah, what else did I write here? Yeah, just keep running. It says do more 5Ks and maybe a 5-miler. So I did not register for a 5-miler for 2025, but I might put that again on my goals for 2026. The next bucket is money and finances. So money finances is like, again, a reminder to myself to make sure I'm contributing to my 401k and I'm, paying off any debt balances that I have. I'm kind of a fan of the Ramsey program, which is like not having debt basically. And, years ago I paid off all my credit cards. Now I'm trying to work on, paying down my home mortgage and basically, the whole like paying for my kids' college and helping them pay for their college and like making sure we're not taking on like student loan debt and crazy stuff like that. I also attached some goals around, like I said, my 401k contributions, and I do set a goal for like, which it's not really a goal because it's out of my control whatsoever, right? Like what I want my 401k balance to be. So like I look at it at the beginning of the year and I see whatever the balance is, and I kind of project in my head like, oh, at the end of the year I would like to see the balance at whatever, because obviously I want it to grow. I'm trying to build my nest egg and whatever for my future self for retirement. And this is a goal I have no control around because it's at the whims of the market, right? You're either going to have a good year with your 401k based on the economy and the market, or you're not. So it's just kind of like a fun thing for me to track in like a nerdy kind of way. And I always like to write down like where my 401k is at the beginning of the year and then where it is at the end of the year, because I just think it's fun to see it grow. And I don't track it on a daily basis because I'm kind of like a set it and forget it kind of person about my investments. But I do like to see at the end of the year how much it's grown and the percentages, and am I in like the right funds and this and that. That's just like nerdy fun stuff that I like to do. I also do the same thing with my house. Like I track what is the remainder of my mortgage at the top of the year, and then again what it is at the end of the year, and how much I have paid off and how much equity I have, because at the same time my home will be improving in value, ideally, with as far as like the equity going up. So these are just like nerdy things I like to track. Again, it's not really a goal that I can change. I can't change my home value. It's the whims of the market. I can't change my 401k balance outside of like what contributions I'm putting towards it. But it is fun for me in a nerdy kind of way to track it. Oh, another thing I had written on my goals in the money finance category for 2025 was to get a will done. Oh my God, I never had a will. Isn't this crazy? So I had my daughters listed as my beneficiaries on my accounts and all of that, but I didn't have an actual like will, which is like crazy. So at my age, I kind of feel like, everyone is like, oh, you got to have life insurance, you got to have a will, like these are the things you should have. And they both are over 18 now, so I don't have to worry about anything defaulting to a direction I don't want, put it that way. And everything can just go to them. There's no custodial, there's no having to name a whatever guardian or anything like that. I can just make sure everything goes to them in their name and nobody else's name. So all of that, I did do that. I went to an attorney, got a will, and really happy that that's accomplished. Honestly, not that I like think I'm gonna, well, I mean, I've had cancer, so not that I think I'm gonna die or anything, but you never know what could happen. And it was kind of like I said, at my age, in my 50s, like this is something I should have. I could go out tomorrow and like get in a car accident, and then what would happen to my kids? What would happen to everything? So this way it's all like whatever. Everything's tidied up, everything's, in legally sound, whatever you want to call it. So that is a good thing I accomplished. And again, that was on my goals for like a couple of years, and I finally got that done. The next bucket of goals is, this is kind of where I put like my hobbies and interest stuff. So I put reading. And I had set a goal for myself that I wanted to read more books. Now I set a goal in 2024 for reading, and I did not even come close at all to my reading goal. It was actually really sad. I think I read 4 books total in 2024. So for 2025, I was like, let's read a little bit more. Let's improve this reading goal. So I did. I read a ton more books in 2025, and I actually really enjoyed it, and I read a lot of books that I liked. I actually love reading, and I just feel like, it's the same thing everybody says. Like, we just spend so much time, like, on our phones and, like, watching TV. Sometimes you just got to put the phone down and, like, read a book or work on a hobby. Like, I like to do crafts, I like to do scrapbooking, I like to do knitting, and I put this in my goals as a reminder. Again, I keep using the word intentionality, but which is such an overused buzzword, but it is. It's like, I only have so much free time in my day. I work a full-time job, I'm cooking dinner, I'm cleaning my house. So the small amount of, like, leisure time, such as it is, that I have, I want to make sure I am spending it doing what I want. And then at the end of the week or at the end of the month, I'm kind of like, man, I really didn't get to my knitting, or I really didn't get to reading that book. That book is still in the same spot I left it. And I'm mad at myself that I didn't do that. So it's like, hey, do it, put the phone down and read the book. One of the other things I really wanted to do was join a book club, which was going to help me with the goal and, like, motivate me and give me, like, kind of like a social outlet and a recommendation for books. And I did join a book club. So that was pretty cool and fun to do. And I really enjoyed that. And I'm staying in the book club. I might join a second book club, actually. And the book club was kind of cool because the suggested books are not of my own choosing, and it kind of pushed me out of my comfort zone. The book club I'm in does nonfiction books only, and it was actually pretty interesting, some of the book choices that we got to read. So then another bucket that I like to put on my goals is relationship stuff, and this is about, like, setting a goal for myself that I want to, like, meet people and, like, make friendships and do dating and that type of thing. Some years I put dating down as a goal, and some years I don't. I've been divorced for a long time. I've been divorced for like 13 years now. So there are times where I'm kind of like, I really want to, like, this year I'm really gonna, like, really spend time on dating, and I'm gonna, like, really take it seriously, and I'm not just gonna blow people off. I'm gonna, like, really make this a focus, and I'm gonna, like, try to meet somebody and try and get in a relationship. And I'll go on, like, the online dating apps for, like, a couple months and then get, like, so annoyed with it and frustrated with it, and then I drop out of it. So so I have been kind of mixed on that. Like I said, some years I was like, I'm gonna prioritize a relationship this year, and then other years I'm just kind of like, well, I like my life the way it is. So this is what I had written down for 2025. Do I even want to do dating? And, like, a couple of years ago, I think it was in 2024, I actually, like, decided to delete all of my dating apps and stop dating completely. And I haven't dated in a really long time. I'm trying to think now. God, I think I dated, like, I haven't even gone out on a date or met anybody or done anything with dating in years, like 4 or 5 years. So I had written this down as a goal, but more as, like, a question to myself, like, do I even want to do this? But I also wrote down that I wanted to prioritize other relationships, like friendships, relationships with my daughters, relationships with my family, relationships with my neighbors, just, like, all relationships, and just make sure, like, I'm being a good friend, I'm being a good neighbor, I'm being a good coworker. And just, like I said, I write these things down just so I can be conscious and aware of it. And when they're having, like, that work party, like, go to the work party, like, invest in relationships, invest in friendships. So for 2025, I did not do dating, suffice it to say. Yeah. And my take on dating in general is this: I'm open to meeting somebody in real life. I hope I do. I really do. But I'm not doing online dating apps. I haven't, like I said, I haven't done those in years, and I'm probably not going to. I just, honestly, at this point in my life, I like my life the way it is, and whatever happens, happens. Like I said, of all the hours I have in the day, that's not what I want to spend my time doing. Hopefully my hobbies and interests in the things that I do will lead me to someone, you know. But if it doesn't, that's okay too. So I had reading as like its own bucket, and then I have hobbies, crafting, and other interests as its own bucket. And this is where I really specifically wrote that I want to work on my photo albums. I want to work on knitting and sewing projects. And I alluded to this before, where like a lot of this stuff that I have already purchased and is sitting in a bin, can I do something with that? Like all the fabrics that I bought, all the yarns that I bought, like let's just get those out and like do them, you know. And I actually made 2 new scarves in 2025, and I did a photo album, and I did a lot of stuff with scrapbooking in my photos. And then the last goal I had was YouTube goals, which are goals that I'm setting for myself surrounding my YouTube channel here. This was a tough year for me for editing and actually finding time to do videos, because I kind of let my kids being home in the summer, I kind of let it get away from me, and I didn't spend as much time doing videos and doing editing. And then like I said, this fall, just in the past month, I've had this whole issue with my computer and not being able to do editing. But I do set myself goals around, like, you know, how many videos I'm putting out and coming up with ideas for videos. And like, obviously I want my subscriber count to grow. So if you are watching this and not subscribed, I would love if you subscribe. So that was the recap of 2025. So now I'll go over what I set for my goals for 2026. So again, it's a lot of the same themes. So for vacations, I did put on here that I want to try to go to that Jimmy Buffett Margaritaville resort. I just think that would be fun to try, you know, and just see what it's like. We go to the Cape a lot, and we usually rent a beach house. So this would be different because we'd be staying in a hotel, but I just want to try it. Like I think it would be fun to see what it's like. And I also have a goal on here that we want to go back to Disney this year. I would like to go to Festival of the Holidays. We have gone to Disney typically in June for the past 3 trips that we've done, just because that's when the kids get out of school and it's when it's been convenient. But with their college schedule, they usually get done kind of mid-December, if not maybe even earlier than that. So I want to try to go to Festival of the Holidays at Epcot and do Disney at Christmas again. We haven't done that in a really long time, so I think that would be fun. As far as other things, other trips, I don't really have anything else on here. I used to have Washington, D.C. on here for a long time as a goal for a trip. I went when I was a teen. My kids have never been, and I think it's something that everybody should see. So I actually dropped that off, and that fell off my goals. I just don't know how to say. I just don't know about visiting Washington, D.C. like right now at this present time. So house stuff. My goals are to paint the walls. Like I mentioned before, I had this on my goals last year, didn't do it. Hopefully I do it this year. So I want to paint the walls in this room and in my kitchen. The paint colors on this wall are fine. Like I like them, but they were chosen by the people that lived here before me. These are the paint colors that were on the wall when I moved in. And I just would like to freshen it up. I think I'd like to choose something different. And like, you know, I thought about hiring somebody to paint. It seems like such a big task because I'd have to like move the furniture away from the wall and cover everything up. And I don't know how hard or easy that would be to do. If I was hiring someone, I guess they could just do it for me. But then I was thinking, like, can I just paint them myself? Like, should I just do this myself? And then I can kind of do it at my own pace and like move the furniture out from one wall, paint that wall, put it back. You know, I don't know. I just feel like if I did it myself, I could kind of do it at my own pace, and I don't care if it took me a month to do the different areas. I don't know. So that's a goal. What else do I have on here? I want to get some new window treatments. I want some new outdoor stuff for my deck. I want to change some of the landscaping I have in the front of my house, because I have these shrubs that are just like getting too big and I can't put Christmas lights on them anymore, and whatever. And then I have deck and pool areas. That's a question because like I said, the adding on the deck, I really want to do that, but it's so expensive and it's such a big thing, and so I don't know. I'm not sure about that one, but I did note it on here as like a question mark. And then again, declutter. Yep. The next one is my fitness goals. So yeah, I mentioned again that I want to keep consistently sticking with running. I run a lot in the summer when I can run outdoors, and I have like a couple of trail areas that I love to run. In the winter, I typically move my running to inside, and I run on a treadmill, which is like so hard and so boring and such a slog to do, but I do try to stick with it. And then again, I mentioned doing a couple of 5Ks this year, and a 5 miler or maybe even a 10K. And then I also wrote down that I just want to go for walks. So not a fitness goal, not for running, not for like pace or number of miles or anything, just walks. Just get out of my house and just go for a walk, like around my neighborhood or down the street. There's a park about a mile, less than a mile. It's actually probably like, how far would that park be from my house? Maybe 0.75 miles. Just walk to the park and walk back, walk down to the corner and walk back. Like I want to just get out of the house, get up, move around and walk. So not a workout, not going to the gym, just like literally just take a stroll. So I wrote that down as a goal. That's just something else I kind of want to incorporate into my daily routine. For work career, I don't really have any goals surrounding work except to keep my job. I like my job a lot. I want to keep doing what I'm doing. I guess I would add the same goal that I had last year, where I just kind of developed more core competencies and that I can kind of jump in to help. We have some, if there's new people, I want to be able to like help them and like provide some assistance or guidance or knowledge now that I have been in my role for a few years. And I wouldn't say I'm like a more senior person, but I am more senior than a lot of people, but again, I like my job. I just want to keep doing what I'm doing. Money and finances, again, tracking my 401k balance, home equity, whatever, that kind of stuff. And then again, hobbies, reading, sewing, running, knitting, scrapbooking, that kind of thing, cooking, reading cookbooks, and just making sure like I'm being conscientious about spending my time doing the things I want to do. And that's it. So that's only 7 goals for this year, and that's everything. So a lot of it is basically like a wish list, I think, of things I want to buy for the house and like some home improvement things I want to do and some vacations we want to go on. And yeah, that's pretty much it. A reminder to myself to like prioritize the relationships and the friendships I have in my life and like, cultivate those and stay connected to people. A lot of the buzz I'm hearing online right now is like, how can I live an analog life in 2026? Like I see this a lot online, and I like that concept of an analog life, and I think that's going to be kind of like my theme for 2026 is like living more like in the real world, as like social media and I feel like AI and everything, it's just kind of like feels like it's like taking up more space and more space in our lives. I kind of want to like push that back a little bit and like live the analog life as much as I possibly can. And I love social media and I love, and I love being online a lot, but it is a reminder, hey, don't forget about the real world, like pick up a book, go for a walk. These are like the themes that I'm thinking of when I'm going into 2026, and that's what I want to be focused on. The sun is coming in now and like, it's about to get in my eyes. So anyway, thanks for following along with me today as I go over these goals and I recap my 2025 and I look forward to 2026. Let me know in the comments what you guys are thinking about for 2026 and what you're looking forward to, especially travel and vacations. Like, I love hearing about other ideas of what people are doing. Like, are you planning to go anywhere? Do you have any trips planned for 2026? I'll throw in some photos from some of the fun things we did this year, like our trip to Disney and some other stuff that we did. So thanks again for watching, and if you're not subscribed to the videos, I would love to have you subscribe. That way you get notified when I have a new video coming out. I do a lot of different types of content. Sometimes I do like a shopping video, a store walkthrough, I do Stitch Fix unboxing, sometimes I just vlog my day-to-day life. So it's a little of this and a little of that, but I would love to have you subscribe and stick around. Thanks again for watching, guys, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!